name's Evelyn, and let's find out where I'm from. Who would have thought that you'd be sitting right here in front of me today? I sure didn't think that I would be here, but I'll tell you how I got here. Today, I'm going to tell you where I'm not really from, as I consider myself from a place of no belonging. Then I'll tell you how I got here. Lastly, I will tell you what I want to do to place myself in the future. But first, let's go back, way back, from before I was even born. My mom was born in Chicago, but raised in Puerto Rico. My dad was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in Chicago. Then my parents got married. My dad joined the Navy. And then a few years later, here I come. I was conceived in Virginia, the state of lovers. From Virginia, my parents moved to Connecticut, where I was born. From Connecticut, we moved across the country to Washington State. When I was around 11 years old, we moved to from Washington State to Chicago. In Chicago, I got my GED when I was 16 years old. And then I joined the Army when I was 17 years old as a chemical operations specialist. In the Army, I was stationed in Alabama, Korea, and Kansas. I married my husband when I was 18 years old in the year of 2000. In 2001, when I was pregnant with my first child, we moved to Chicago. This is my first child. I had my first and second child in the year of 2001. A few years later, from Chicago, we moved to Florida. We stayed in Florida a couple of years, and then we moved back to Chicago. From Chicago, we moved to Wisconsin, where I had my son in 2005. A few years later, in 2008, we moved back to Florida, where we have planted our roots and grown our lives. My kids are now 18, 19, and 14 years old. This is me and my husband in St. Augustine a couple weeks ago. My husband works as a restaurant manager, and I work for a global chemical company servicing automated chemical dispensing equipment for commercial pools. I'm happy and proud of where I am today. Thomas Jefferson once stated, everybody should have an education that's proportional with their life. And that's why I am here today working on my associate's degree. Life has surpassed my education. I need to get my education caught up with my life in order to move forward. My goal is to work on my associate's degree and then my bachelor's degree. And then I'll consider working on my master's degree. I'm curious to see where a college education will take me, where I will end up. And that's me, Evelyn, from a place of no belonging. Time will tell where I end up.